fortunes. It requires power with a capital P.
And that power often comes from.
Organized, specialized knowledge, often accessed through a mastermind group. Think of Andrew Carnegie. He knew very little about making steel, technically.
But he surrounded himself with people who did.
Exactly. He had the specialized knowledge of his group, organized and directed by him. That collective intelligence was his power.
So for us, as individuals, the takeaway is specialization.
Absolutely. Find your niche. Develop deep, specialized knowledge in a particular area. We see this everywhere now. The example of Stuart Austin Weir.
The construction engineer who switched to law after 40.
Yes, and he didn't just become a general lawyer. He specialized in corporation law, crammed the study, and built a lucrative practice quickly because he focused.
And that other example, the mother who created a sales plan for her son.
Right, a personal service sales plan. It wasn't just a resume. It was a detailed plan showcasing his specific value and how he could serve the company.
And he got hired as a junior executive right away, skipping years of climbing the ladder.
Because the plan communicated his specialized value so effectively, it organized his potential into a definite offer. That's applied knowledge.
Okay, that flows right into the next critical piece, imagination. Step 5. If knowledge provides the materials.
Imagination is the workshop where the plans are created. The source material is blunt here. Ideas are the starting point of all fortunes, full stop.
And our only limitation is how well we develop and use our imagination.
Correct. It's presented as a mental faculty that can be trained and strengthened. And there are two forms.
Right, synthetic and creative.
Synthetic imagination is what we use most often. It takes existing concepts, ideas, plans, and rearranges them into new combinations. It works with the known. It's vital for creating practical plans.
Building on what's already there.
Yes. Then you have creative imagination. This is described as the direct link to infinite intelligence. It's where truly novel ideas, breakthroughs, hunches, and inspirations come from.
The aha moments.
Sort of. But the text notes this faculty really only kicks in when the conscious mind is vibrating at a very high rate.
Meaning
Meaning when it's energized by strong emotion, like a really intense burning desire. That heightened state seems to open the channel.
the Coca-Cola story is a great illustration here.
Perfect example. You have this old country doctor who sells a simple formula, a kettle, and a paddle for $500 to Asa Candler, a drug clerk.
The formula itself wasn't the magic bullet then.
Not entirely. The crucial secret ingredient Candler added was imagination. He saw the potential, imagined how to market it, scale it, take it global. That idea, born of imagination, built an empire.
An empire that employed thousands, even through the Depression, all from one idea properly imagined and executed.
It shows the power difference. And then there's Dr. Frank Gonzalez.
The preacher who needed $1 million for his college idea.
He didn't just wish for it. He made a definite decision to get it within 1 week. That's key.
The definite decision.
Yes, and he created a definite plan, even if the plan seemed a bit unusual. Preached a sermon titled, "What I Would Do If I Had $1 Million."
He put his desire out there, publicly, with conviction.
And it worked. Philip E. Armour was in the audience, heard the passion, the plan, the imagination behind it.
And offered him the money right after.
Within 36 hours of Gonzalez crystallizing that desire into a definite decision and plan. It wasn't just hard work. It was a definite demand, fueled by desire and imagination, presented through a clear plan.
So the lesson is, massive results don't usually come from just grinding away.
No, they come in response to definite demands, backed by these principles we've discussed. Ideas are these incredibly potent, intangible forces, more powerful often than the brains that create them.
Okay, let's recap the journey we've mapped out. It starts with a burning desire, a definite goal.
Which then needs to be supercharged by faith, that active, cultivated belief.
That combination is then programmed into the subconscious mind using persistent autosuggestion, loaded with emotion.
Guided and structured by specialized knowledge, organized into definite plans, often leveraging the power of a mastermind group.
And finally, brought into reality, given form and strategy, through the power of imagination, both synthetic and creative.
It really brings it full circle, back to that initial bold claim.
Uh-huh.
Your mental state, properly directed and energized, architects your physical reality. Riches, poverty, they're both offspring of thought.
So the final thought we want to leave you with, something to really mull over as you think about applying these steps.
It's this quote, a core message from the source. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. What limits are you currently acknowledging?
Our goal here, well, it's pretty simple. You need deep knowledge, fast and thorough. And we're here to hand you the blueprint. Today, we're cracking open the principles that turn that abstract desire, the wanting, into actual concrete results.
Yeah, we're really moving into the action phase,
Yeah,
specifically the 6th step toward riches, organized planning. What we found synthesizing the sources is that just having a strong desire, that's like only half the battle. You absolutely have to translate that desire, get it out of your head and into, well, they call it the workshop of the imagination.
Yeah.
That's where the practical plans, the detailed ones, are actually created and, importantly, organized.
And since, let's face it, no big fortune gets built by one person alone, our deep dive today is really focusing on 3 key areas. They're all connected. First, the power you need from working together, the Mastermind Alliance.
Collaboration.
Second, the blueprint for, bouncing back when things inevitably go wrong, that persistence piece. And finally, the attributes you need for real leadership and how to effectively market yourself, your services.
Exactly. It's a synthesis, really, of how you organize people, how you organize the process around your goal, and maybe, most importantly, how you organize your own thinking. So, where should we start? Maybe with the engine behind any big plan, the collaboration piece.
Yeah, let's unpack that. The sources, they are absolutely insistent on this point. To accumulate anything really significant, you need other people's cooperation. No single person, doesn't matter how brilliant, has enough experience or education or just, raw talent to pull off a massive enterprise by themselves.
That's the absolute bedrock. If you accept that limitation, and you kind of have to, then you see why the mastermind principle is so crucial. It's about deliberately allying yourself with a group. People who complement what you bring to the table.
Okay, and the sources lay out 4 steps for this. Seems pretty clear. Non-negotiable steps.
Yeah.
Step 1, okay, gather the people you need to actually do the thing. Makes sense. Step 3 is about rhythm, right? Meet at least twice a week, maybe more, until the plans are solid. But steps 2 and 4, that's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Step 2, it demands you be super clear about reciprocity. Like crystal clear. Before you even get the group together, you have to define the value exchange.
Yeah.
What are you offering each person? Compensation? Sure. Maybe benefits, some kind of advantage. What's in it for them to cooperate? If you want smart people putting in effort, you need that clear mechanism. And it's not always about cash, right?
Right. Value can take different forms. Okay, then step 4, perfect harmony. It's even capitalized. Maintain perfect harmony with every member. That sounds, well, almost impossible, doesn't it? Especially in a high-stakes business thing, people disagree. What if someone's just having an off day? Is the source material really saying the whole thing fails if there isn't perfect harmony?
It's incredibly uncompromising on this. The material states flat out that the mastermind principle cannot obtain it. It just doesn't work if perfect harmony isn't there. Think of it like this. The collective energy, the whole point of the alliance, it just shuts down if there's conflict simmering underneath, resentment, disagreements. If conflict pops up, the sources say you have to stop, restore the harmony, or the alliance is basically dead in the water. And that's why the plans, even if you came up with most of them, they must be checked, approved by this harmonious group.
Okay, that makes a certain kind of sense. You can't have hidden agendas pulling the ship in different directions, which actually leads us right into the second pillar. What happens when that perfect, harmonious plan smacks right into a brick wall?
Yes, the critical distinction. Temporary defeat is absolutely not permanent failure. That's key. The sources teach, look, if a plan fails, it just means the plan wasn't sound, that's it. The instruction is simple, though not easy. Build another plan. Start again.
It's so much a mental game, isn't it? Because if you've invested all that energy, built the mastermind, defined the plan, hitting defeat feels crushing. So the secret weapon here is, well, it's persistence, but persistence taken to an almost absurd level.
Exactly. Think about the examples they give. Thomas Edison. The sources say he met temporary defeat 10,000 times.
Oh.
10,000. Before perfecting the light bulb, that wasn't a failure of his brain. Those were 10,000 failed plans. He just refused point blank to stop planning and replanning.
Or Henry Ford. Same story, different industry. His success wasn't really about one single stroke of genius. It was following a sound plan. And when a plan didn't work, he had the mental toughness to just swap it out immediately and keep going.
You have to internalize that axiom. No man is ever whipped until he quits it in his own mind. It's all mental. The second you accept defeat up here, points ahead, that's it. Game over. It becomes permanent failure. And this ties back. When you build your mastermind, you have to look for people who get this. People who don't take defeat too seriously. They see it as just, data, evidence that a specific step was wrong.
Okay, engine, mastermind, fuel, persistence. Now we need the driver, right? You. the
Yeah.
individual, selling your services. So pillar 3, marketing personal services and what it takes to be a modern leader.
Right, because fortunes, big ones, often start as compensation for what you do, your services, or for selling your ideas, which means essentially you're a merchant, selling your own expertise. And right at the start, you've got a choice. Are you going to lead or are you going to follow?
And if you choose to follow, the sources say be an intelligent follower. Learn everything you can efficiently, because that's often the fastest track to becoming an effective leader yourself down the line. But if you choose leadership from the get-go, well, that requires a whole different set of disciplines.
Exactly. The sources list 11 major attributes of leadership. We probably don't need to list them all, but let's zero in on a few key ones about accountability.
Okay, start with my favorite, mostly because it seems backward at first. The habit of doing more than paid for, why is that a necessity for leaders?
Well, think about it. The moment you step into leadership, your job isn't just doing tasks, it's setting the standard, inspiring people. The source actually calls it both a penalty and a necessity. You simply have to be willing to put in more effort than you asked from your team. It's like the invisible price of authority.
And that connects directly to the next one, willingness to assume full responsibility. The source literally says if a follower messes up, the leader has to see it as their own failure. Wow, that's huge accountability.
It absolutely is, and it loops back to planning, doesn't it? If your follower fails, maybe you didn't train them right, or you didn't oversee the details properly, or the contingency plan wasn't there. A real leader gets that they are the ultimate bottleneck, the source of efficiency or inefficiency in the team.
And looking at why leaders fail, one that jumps out is the fear of competition from followers. You see this all the time, right? Leaders who are afraid to train their replacements because they think they'll become obsolete.
And that fear, ironically, is exactly what stops them from scaling. It prevents multiplication. By not training understudies, the leader basically traps themselves, limits their impact to what they can personally do. A truly great leader is fine seeing their followers get the credit because they understand those followers are extending the leader's own reach and influence.
This really points to a big shift in how power works, doesn't it? Historically, you had leadership by force. Think Napoleon, the czars.
Yeah, brute force.
But the sources are really clear. History shows that kind of leadership just doesn't last.
Absolutely. We've moved or are moving into an era of leadership by consent, by cooperation. The relationship between, say, employer and employee is becoming much more like a partnership. You have the employer, the employee, and the public. They both serve, all working together, ideally for mutual benefit. Force, intimidation. It just doesn't fly in the modern economy, not long term.
And this modern idea, this consent-based service model, it's captured perfectly in that QQS formula. This is supposed to be the key to marketing your personal services effectively, permanently.
QQS.
Right.
Quality plus quantity plus spirit.
Right.
That equals, according to the sources, perfect salesmanship of service.
Okay, quality seems straightforward. Do every detail efficiently, do good work. Quantity is about the habit, right? Doing all you're capable of and always trying to increase that capacity.
But the spirit. That's the secret sauce, the high value bit. It's the habit again of being agreeable, harmonious in your conduct, the kind of attitude that makes people want to cooperate with you. Andrew Carnegie apparently put the highest premium on this. He wouldn't keep someone, no matter how good their work quality or how much they produced, if they couldn't work with others in a spirit of harmony. Because harmony, you see, it's the glue. It holds the whole mastermind structure, the whole enterprise together.
Okay, so we've got the plan, the team ethic, the service ethic. Now we need to shift focus inward. Discipline. Specifically, mastering procrastination and indecision.
Yeah, this is huge. The analysis of literally thousands of people who failed. It showed that indecision is almost always right near the top of the reasons why. Indecision and its twin brother, procrastination. They go hand in hand.
And here's the key difference in behavior, the pattern. People who make fortunes, they decide quickly, and then they change those decisions slowly, if at all.
Right, deliberately.
People who fail, they decide slowly, sometimes never, and then they change their minds constantly, quickly.
Like a ship without a rudder.
Henry Ford comes up again here. Famous for sticking to his decisions, almost stubbornly sometimes, but it moved him forward.
So what stops people from deciding? Often it's letting other people's opinions get in the way. The sources call opinions the cheapest commodity on earth. Everyone has one. And we've all been there, right? You get excited about an idea, share it with a skeptical friend or relative.
And poof, the energy just deflates.
Exactly. So the advice is pretty blunt. If opinions influence you easily, you won't succeed. The only people whose opinions should really carry weight, the members of your chosen mastermind group.
Otherwise, Keep your own counsel. Keep your mouth shut and your ears open.
Because if you talk too much about your plans before they're solid, well, you kind of reveal two things. One, maybe a lack of deep knowledge. True wisdom's often quiet, right?
Hmm?
And two, you risk someone else hearing your great idea and running with it before you do.
There's a powerful historical example of this kind of courageous, definite decision, the Declaration of Independence.
Absolutely. Think about that moment.
Yeah.
That was a mastermind group, 56 men. They reached a definite decision, a terrifying one. Signing that document was basically signing their own death warrant if the colonies lost the war. But that decision itself, born from courage, from conviction, it essentially ensured the victory, long before Washington's armies actually won on the battlefield. It shows that this power we're talking about, desire, decision, faith, persistence, the mastermind, it works on a massive scale for nations, just as it does for individuals.
Okay, let's bring this right back home. Place your own services, your work, within the bigger picture. The law of economics, self-correction.
Right. The sources talk about the economic system, particularly the U.S. system at the time, as offering incredible opportunity, freedom. But they stress that these opportunities come from something specific. Organized capital. And that's not just, big pile of money. It's the cooperative effort of organized, intelligent people. Resources, planning how to use money effectively, ideally for public good, leading to profit.
But regardless of the specifics of the system, there's this underlying unbreakable rule, the law of economics. It demands you give value to get value, render useful service to accumulate wealth.
It's fixed. You can't cheat it, not in the long run. You can't just get without giving something equivalent in return.
So to make sure you're actually meeting this law, you have to constantly be aware of those 30 major causes of failure they identified.
And among the most common, most correctable. Lack of a well-defined purpose in life, knowing what you're aiming for, and, no surprise, procrastination. That tendency to wait.
Don't wait for the perfect time, right? Because it never comes. If you wait for all the lights to be green, you'll never leave the driveway.
Exactly. And since you are essentially a merchant selling your services, you need to take stock regularly, like a shop owner doing inventory. The sources recommend an annual self-analysis. They even provide a detailed questionnaire, 28 questions, asking things like, if I had bought my own services this past year, would I be satisfied with the purchase?
Oof, that's a tough question to answer, honestly.
It is, but it helps you figure out your real value. There's even a formula they give. You can estimate the capital value of your services by taking your annual income and multiplying it by 16 2/3.
16 2/3. That's oddly specific. Why that number?
It's just a financial calculation. It represents the capital sum needed to generate your annual income if it were earning a 6% annual return. So if you earn $60,000 a year, your capital value in this sense is $1 million, because $1 million at 6% yields $60,000. The point isn't the exact number, it's the mindset shift. It forces you to think of your ability to serve not as just a job or a wish, but as a quantifiable, valuable asset, an investment. And it underlines the main point, your financial wants. They have zero bearing on your actual worth. Your worth is determined solely by your ability to provide useful service.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. From that initial desire through planning, collaboration, persistence, decision-making, leadership, service, all the way to self-analysis.
And it all comes back to that unyielding law of economics. You get back in proportion to what you put out in useful service. Your worth is established by that service, period.
So the big question we want to leave you with, the one to really mull over this week, isn't how much do I want to earn? Instead, ask yourself this. Based on the quality, quantity, and spirit QQS of the service I'm currently rendering, am I actually worth more than I'm receiving right now? That decision and what you choose to do about it, well, that's entirely up to you.